What's up, everybody? Here we are, the After Show But Later, episode number 334. It's your boys D. We got Luis Cortez Jr. right here. Luis, always themed out. I thought I had to kind of match your vibe, dog. I got my Lakers my shit right here, dog. I got my Lakers hat right here, dog. I'm like, oh, all right, let's go ahead. I wanted to have a vibe today. And today, if you are not subscribed to our Patreon as one of the paid members, then you're future dude right now. And I know you're wondering, like, dog, like they didn't even tell us, right? They didn't even tell us that they weren't going to be live today. Today is Tuesday, April 6th. Where are they? They're here. But you know what, dog? They're not live. You know why? Because you're not on Patreon, dog. You can join as for $1 a month and get this show live. So if you're here live, thank you for your contribution, or you can still join our Patreon for free. The only thing is, when we do stuff like this, Andrew Sims in here. Did you guys change costumes? Oh, Andrew, that cracked me up so hard right now, dog. Way more than it should have. But if you guys are here, you guys like see Andrew's in the chat, right? You're like, damn, how is Andrew in the chat and I'm not? You know why you're not? Because you're not a paid member on Patreon. Patreon.com/TASBL. And if you're wondering how did they come up with that little acronym, right? It's every letter off of our show, the After Show But Later. So After Show But Later, episode number 334. We have so many things that we want to get into. I know we had some false advertisement last week. We advertised it as a graffiti show. We didn't talk about graffiti. You know, we do that. We tend to do that because there's so much to get to. Last week we swung from the nuts of Covino and Rich, and we had to take it back this episode where we were like, you know what? Let's don't swing from their nuts. Let's come with a bunch of topics. So we have a lot of stuff planned for you guys. Whether you're future dude, whether you're here live, we appreciate you. And you know what? And one thing, if you are future dude, that doesn't mean that you can't interact. We might ask some questions, and so what you got to do is just leave your comments in the chat. You know, we'll go ahead and get back to you in the chat, you know, in the comment section. And then next week, what we'll do is Luis will be back from Europe, right? We'll address some of your stuff maybe on that show. So you got to make sure that you check us out live every Tuesday, except today, April 6th. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Last week, 25 minutes ago. Yeah, if you know, you know. All right, guys. So let's go ahead. Luis, is there anything where you want to get started with? If not, Doug, I'm gonna have the topics coming, Doug.
Yeah, bro, that's behind the bit of a rope right there, Andrew Sims.
Yeah.
But yeah, real quick, I forgot last week, man. We had so much going on to your thing. I wanted to get to it and I forgot, and I still want to get to it because I want to honor him. So if you kind of know me a little bit, you know, punk rocker guy. I love The Crow. The character, the vibe, the comic book, the movie, all that. I mean, it's super. I mean, I think every other year I probably dress up as The Crow or paint my face for Halloween. I find a reason to just dress up. I mean, I got the whole costume. I made some pieces before. I can probably cosplay this fool. I know the whole song. I know
You can
even that
cosplay
sound,
him.
even the soundtrack, bro. Like if you never had the soundtrack, like the whole fucking soundtrack's a vibe, dude. So it was really impactful for me as a kid and like kind of helped me shape myself into who I am now in a way. But yeah, so last week, it was on this day, it was actually his death anniversary. So he died on, March 31st, 33 years ago. And, I don't know if you know the story about all that. I think it was kind of pretty popular. Do you
Wait,
know the backstory
33
of
years
that?
ago would be 93?
Yeah. Yep.
93?
Yep.
Dang, so he died the same year the Backstreet Boys came out.
Yeah,
Dang.
bro.
Hey, I
And
have a quick trivia question for you. Do you know which I'll say WCW, eventually WWE, but what WCW wrestler kind of modeled his look after the Crow?
I have to know this because it's very similar just thinking already, and it has to be Sting, right?
It was 100%. If you guys
Yeah.
remember Sting in his original, go at it, he had the Ultimate Warrior kind of makeup. And I have a deeper question. Do you know why he had that Ultimate Warrior makeup in the beginning?
Nah, I don't know that one.
They were tag team partners. So
What
Ultimate
was his name
Warrior,
then? Was it the same?
it was Sting, yeah. So I think it was Sting. I don't know. Now I'm making that up. But it was Ultimate Warrior and Sting were actually tag team partners. That's why when you seen Ultimate Warrior in WWF, you seen Sting in WCW, you were like, oh wait, they have like similar makeup. They were tag team partners. When Sting had his first woo with his little short blonde hair, and then he came out later after the face paint and went away for a little bit. His gimmick was getting that cheesy kind of, happy-go-lucky thing was kind of going out of style. Next thing you know, Doug, do you remember? I don't know how big of a WWF fan or WCW fan you were when you were a kid, but when Sting was coming back as the Crow version of Sting, Doug, there was like, it felt like months. It could have been like 2 episodes, but it felt like months of, they were like, who's in the rafters? Who's in it? And then they would look and it would be like Sting just standing there with like a bat pointing, right? And then, dog, then the big reveal when he like came into the ring, like from the rafters, dog, into it, unhooked himself and started beating people with the bat. Dog. And I've never seen the Crow, dog, but I just love Sting so much.
Oh, dude, you'll have to. I didn't know that, and that's so funny because that's the same reason I like Sting. I remember his intro and the backstory to him when he was that Raptor stuff. He was almost like the Undertaker or the Kane. Like they pitched it here and there, right? Like they kind of brought him in slowly, and all of a sudden they released his character. But Andrew Sims says they were called the Blade Runners.
They were Sting and Rock. So he was Sting. I guess the Ultimate Warrior was Rock.
And they
Dang.
had he had the same it looked like a bird almost, I want to say, like the Ultimate Warrior, right? And it had like the Wu-Tang kind of a thing, and
Wu Tang. Yeah, that's what he had painted on him. It was the upside down Wu
it,
Tang, dog.
but it's funny because I didn't realize that when he did his crow theme as this thing, it was almost the same, but it was black and white, I think, other like kind of the Ultimate Warrior style looking, but it was just black and white compared to Ultimate Warrior was like different colors and shit,
It was
and it was around his eyes.
man, I was such a huge fan of that shit back in the day, but it's funny because another one of my WCW favorites back in the day was Raven. Do you remember Raven? That
Yeah,
dude with the curly hair and like the jorts, the jean shorts, dog.
yeah.
Oh, that dude used to mob around in those jorts and his leather jacket, dog. I thought he was cool as shit, but he always looked like he smelled. So I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Uh,
But anyway, dog. So shout out to the Crow. What was his real name? You said Brandon Lee?
Brandon Lee, so he's Bruce Lee's son, right?
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Well,
Yeah.
I
So
when
yeah,
you said no, see, this is where I got confused because you had said Brandon Lee when I talked to you last week, right? And
yeah.
you were like, "Oh man, I forgot to mention Brandon Lee's, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Wait, Brandon Lee?" I was like, "Is Bruce Lee's son, right?" So then when
Yeah.
you started talking about the Crow, I was like, "Oh, maybe I was confused." Now that you say that, I'm like, "Oh shit, I didn't know that was his son."
Yeah, it was his son, and like he was super famous, and or it was kind of coming into his own at the time. It was pretty sad actually, and I don't know. Do you remember that whole Rust thing that happened not too long ago when that one famous actor shot that lady accidentally? I guess, and
Yeah,
she died.
yeah.
That was like I guess the first version of that back in the day. So back in the day, they used to shoot blanks, right? It was
Was it
bullets,
Alec
but
Baldwin that did it?
yes, that was the guy in the Rust. But back in the day, they used to shoot blanks, so it was a bullet, but they didn't have a projectile, right? So I guess the story goes that they they had caps on them, you know what I mean? So that there was somehow something got jammed in there. There was something there.
Oh
It
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
necessarily a bullet, but it was something that was there or a casing or something. So then when they shot another blank, it actually triggered and project whatever was out there that ended up hitting that fool. If you ever watch the movie, the scene's pretty famous where I mean, if the part of the crow is that he can't die kind of thing, and I don't want to spoil it for you or whatever. But there's a scene where
30 years later.
he gets on this table, he goes to see all the bad guys, and he's like, "Oh, that's me, motherfucker!" And then and they're like, "Oh, shoot!" There's a table full like maybe 20, 30 fools, all the mobsters, and they all have like their own straps or whatever. And he jumps on the table, and they're like, "Oh, kill that fool!" And so everyone just like, just ta, 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 and like a bunch of bullets and clouds or whatever. And he like falls over or whatever, and all of a sudden he gets up and like, "Oh, it's still me," I didn't die, but it was literally that episode. And it was kind of crazy, but yeah, man,
And
that
I
was
know, Doug. So
last week.
I know. I'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and answer something for everybody that's listening right now. I know you're wondering, hey, I come here for the after show, but later, what does this have to do with Cavino and Rich? I will tell you. So you talked about Brandon Lee got shot with what should have been something that was shooting blanks, right?
Yep.
Well, speaking of shooting blanks, Rich said he's going to get a vasectomy. So if you want to know how we got here, Rich will also be shooting blanks. And one day, the difference about, and this is how we tie it all together. If Rich is shooting blanks and one actually gets through, he doesn't end a life, he actually creates one. Dog.
Mic drop that one.
Dog. Oh my goodness. And I know you guys are thinking, these guys are magicians. How did they get there? Doug, it's what we do. We were talking about it on the last episode, right? We've gotten this vibe. We've gotten to know each other a little bit. And I know, Doug, I know even when we started, Andrew says if he really ends up doing it. Yeah, if he really does end up, but I think he will, Doug. Fucking, Rich. He'll want to let jizz fly. Right. So, but all right, Doug, let's go ahead and I don't even remember some of the topics that I have, but let's go ahead and get to the first one right here. We have, Doug, I have a good one for you right now. I'm excited. So for years of listening to Cavino and Rich, Doug, was always like, Cavino always says, hey, I learned how to do this in the barrio. Right? And the barrio this and the barrio that, right? And I was always like, Doug, growing up, I always heard barrio with a V, right? That was always what I heard was barrio. I've never heard, and I was like, I even questioned myself one day. I'm like, Doug, why am I hearing Cavino? I know he doesn't say barrio, but I'm like, why? Does he mean barrio? But he says barrio. And so, Doc, so I went back and forth. Do you know the difference between a barrio and a vario?
I didn't even know there was a difference, bro. So,
Doug,
no.
I didn't either. But growing up my whole life, I've heard vario, right? Like we even have a gang in town called VLA, right? It's Vario Los Avenues. That's the name, right? So I'm like, Doug, it wasn't BLA. It wasn't Barrio Los Avenues, So I was like, Doug, is it just that Cavino like doesn't have the accent? Or is it that I'm hearing it wrong? But no, but we had that gang. We had Naked City. We had all these, Doug. And I remember when I was a kid, dog, and I first heard of the gang Naked City, dog, I thought it was the funniest shit I ever heard in my whole life. Because I had heard like my brother and my cousins talking about Naked City. And I was like, Naked City, dog? People just run around butt naked or what? Dog? Like, I didn't know it was a gang. I was just like, dog, I want to go to Naked City. All right? I was all little, dog. But so this is the actual explanation about barrio versus barrio. Now, let me go ahead and break it to you. A barrio is a neighborhood, right? Rich lives in a barrio, right? A neighborhood is basically a barrio. Barrio it's a hood, right? So there's a lot more barrios in Compton, right? In Watts. And in those places, dog, right? In certain parts of Glendale, right near Phoenix, right? By the Cardinal Stadium, you're gonna hit barrios. If you're gonna be near even by the Staples Center, dog. I've taken wrong turns by the Staples Center, dog. I've been in a barrio, right? You're near some mansions in a barrio. You take one left turn, right? Next thing you know, you're in Pacoima, dog. You're in the barrio, right? So that's actually what the difference is that a barrio is just a neighborhood, but a barrio is a hood. So,
didn't know that.
And dog, I had to look it up one day because it bothered me so much. So, you come here, dog.
I wonder if Cavino knows that.
I
You
don't
think he
think
knows that?
he
I
would.
think it's a. I thought it was like a. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought it was like a inflection thing or like a dialect thing. Where like
Same.
maybe what part of the country you were from or what barrio you grew up in that you how you say it. But I guess
But
there
did
is
you
a
ever
real
hear?
meaning to
Did
it.
you ever hear Barrio growing up, or was it always
I
Barrio?
thought that to me just sounds like whitewash. You know what I mean? Like someone who can say barrio because is the R stuff there. But I have heard it, but I thought Alex who just doesn't know how to say it.
No, and I don't think. And you know what? It could be because maybe Cavino from the East Coast, right? There wasn't as many. There was Puerto Ricans and shit, but I don't know if they. I'm not versed in Puerto Rican culture, so right. So I don't know if they have barrios, right? So maybe when Cavino did hear it, it was from like movies or some shit, or maybe I don't know. But the from the explanation that the internet tells me, and we all know if it's on the internet, it's true. This is actually what the difference is. So yeah, there's a little lesson. You don't only come to the after show, but later for entertainment, you actually come to learn. So we teach you things here too. Um, if he really ends up doing it, oh yeah, sorry, that was way back. But
You
next, dog, what do we have next? Let's see, graffiti, tagging, and murals, dog. And I know last week you had your mural behind you, right? The graffiti. It was Otani, and it was who else was the other one?
Mookie Betts.
Mookie Betts, dog. Actually, dog, I used to know this black native dude named Mookie, and for real, dog. So I hear Mookie and I think of that fucking native tweaker drinker dude. But anyway, so shout out to Mookie. But dog, so graffiti tagging and dog. So if you go to maybe some places, right? Maybe you're in a barrio, you may see a mural on the side of a building that says like First Western Union, right? Or something. But the further you get into the barrio, you're gonna start seeing, okay, you go from murals to maybe some graffiti to the deeper into the hood you get, dog, you're gonna see straight up tagging. So I know Cavino and Rich had a conversation about, tagging is just straight up like real quick, had to write real quick, right? Little Joker, and then they bounced, And I remember there was a documentary on Netflix a few years back where they actually followed dudes that would go and do this shit like in the middle of the night. And dog, they'd have like their different little like tips and shit for their like actual graffiti with like the bubble letters and shit, dog. But I just want to know when it comes to like graffiti culture, shit like that, did you ever like dig it? Was it ever in your I'll tell you why it was in mine, but I just want to know your whole take on everything.
So I am born and raised in Los Angeles, California. So it was almost like if it was inevitable that you came across it. And I ran with some crews who that's what they did. So I partaked. I wasn't as good or wasn't out on the streets too much, but I mean I have a couple old school names that I used to tag up and stuff myself. So I actually did that. It's
Dang.
funny because I was going through some of my old books. And like I have a couple we used to call them peace books, and you would pass them around, bro. Like it was just like an art book, and your homie would
Doug,
take
I'm
it
gonna
for a
let you
week or two.
talk real quick. Continue, but I'm gonna step away for a second while you tell the story because I need to grab something real quick.
Go ahead. And so yeah, I mean, it was just kind of like a way of passage where I grew up. Like either you did or you didn't, and if you did, then you partaked, and if you didn't, you probably knew somebody, and like it was all over our school, all over. Like I mean, back in the day, you used to have to share textbooks in class. Like it was the same book for the whole class. Like that's where you would see all the penises, all the graffiti, all the like the little drawings in the restrooms. And I remember like helping my homies like make shit. Like we used to call. Do you remember the old school glue sticks that were like clear and they had like a little ball?
Yeah, yeah.
They almost we like how you get modern. The homies used to call those drippers. So they used to buy those and like drain the glue out, clean it, and then put paint in it, and then put it back together. And then that was what we would call a dripper, and that's how you would get like that graffiti that would look like it was drain like dripping really.
Yeah.
So that was, I mean, we would do all kinds of shit. Like at the time, I remember we like, hey, if we go stand at the end of the alley, like
Ah, shit. What happened to Luis?
be my shit or hey whatever. And so I mean it was a way of a rite of passage for me growing up. Like I was in the mix. So yeah, I am part of it. I do understand there was some shit that was trash. We're like, bro, that shit looks like Camino said, like crayons and shit.
Yeah.
But even just some of the lettering, because a lot of it was artistic in a way, like you would take some font and make it your own, you know what I mean? And so I appreciate the art of it in general, but there is some stuff that's just trash.
Doug, I got some trash for you that I'm gonna show you. So, Doug, I just remembered that I had this in the closet. So, Doug, I've always been fascinated. I'm trying to take these screws out. I've always been fascinated with just the culture, right? When it comes to like graffiti and shit, because, dog, growing up, my brother to this day, dog, he can pop and lock like fucking like the best, right? And I have some cousins from LA that one of them ended up passing away when I was a kid, but there were these two brothers, Joey and Nelson, dog. They fucking kick ass, right? They get down. So it was big in my family as far as like breakdancing, popping, right? Popping and locking. And so if you're familiar with like even like, you know, break-in, beat street, all of that, it's real big in that culture as far as graffiti. So there would always be like even if they were gonna have like a breakdancing competition, right? Somebody would draw up a little flyer, right, and have like a little dude on it, and it would be like a spray can on it, and it'd be like, you know, Thursday, you know, 7 until question mark, right? Or, you know, $5 admission, you know, IGM versus, you know, street rockers or up rockers or whatever it was at the time. Dog, so that was big in that culture. I wasn't like, you know, I wasn't in a crew and shit like my brother was, but I love that shit. So this was something I did like, I don't know, dog, maybe like 6 months ago was my little fucking
Hey,
dog.
there you go.
So this is, and I have on here, dog. I'll tell you some of the things. IGM, which was my brother's breaking crew. It was called Imagination Gone Mad. I have the dude has his arm wrapped because he cut his finger or some shit. I have One Love, so one with the heart, One Love, Bob Marley, love Bob Marley. And then I have FLB, and under it I wrote Funky Little Beat. So look at that.
Hey, that fool has a Kylie Jenner lips too.
Yeah, dog, look at that. So
Give me 1 second to keep chatting. I got a piece
okay.
right here that my
So
homie did. I have it hung up. Hold on.
it's
Go
gonna
ahead.
be the show and tell show for the after show, but later. So that was something, and especially even now, I have a shit ton. Oh, you know what? I wonder if we can actually. I'll be able to when Luis comes back. I'm gonna go grab something right here. So here he is. Go ahead, Luis.
So, there's a couple of reasons I kept this piece of paper here. Long story short, the homie who drew this for me passed away, and but it's just to show some of the stuff that we're talking about. This is an old. I mean, I'll show you in a second. Just gonna give you the backstory. This is an old piece of paper, and it has some tape because back in the day, I think most of us who are that old, you used to carry around like binders or folders, or you either had like folders. I don't know. When Daniel comes back, we'll ask to see like people who were the folder kids who just walked around with a folder, or you're a backpack kid, and then maybe in your backpack you had a folder. But so to me, I was a little bit of both. I had a backpack and I put folders in it, but I would deck out my folders. Were you a folder guy or a backpack kid or a little bit of both? You know what I'm talking about?
I was kind of both, to be honest. Folders. I okay. So I had my backpack, and then I had my folders inside, right? That you would
Right.
like tag on or whatever,
Right.
right? And when I say tag, it was more of a graffiti because I would use that. There's quote unquote tagging, but sometimes when you would like be tagging on like your notebook and shit, you would kind of do it like graffiti style. But you would still call it tagging, right? Like you're tagging on your notebook. But it wasn't necessarily little Joker was here, you know, type of shit. But one other thing I want to show you real quick, dog, is I just ran and grabbed these. This is how much this shit is still part of my life. I have these markers right here, paint markers, dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That I even have too many in here because there's some that I bought, like I go through red a lot because I like red and black. So I bought red ones individually. So, dog, I'm still fucking, this is still part of my life.
Can you see that?
Oh, hey there.
So
That
So it's my homie who passed away did this for me, and like that's what the reason I started talking about binders because it's hard to see. It's all dusty. There's tape right here because this he drew this for me, and I taped it on my folder. He says Louis,
yeah, I
and
see
it has
that.
his name. They used to call him Flex, or we used to call him Flex or Flex, as he used to like to flex, whatever. So yeah, he did this for me, and that's why there's tape around or whatever. I mean, and it's just like old school paper, bro. And you know what's funny about it? Like it was. What did you used to do back in the day when you guys were talking cheese, man? Like, if in the back of this shit, it's like me and the homies talking about some girl who was smashing like the booth and shit.
Oh,
So like, there's just like notes going back and forth that says, "Yeah, I heard she smashed this fool and took it in the A," and me
oh,
and like, and then this A would just still smash her, like just like cheese man going back and forth, and all of a sudden he just flipped it over and started like busting a piece. And it was on my binder forever, and then I found it, and like when he passed away, I have it hung up right here on my
that's
little, I got a
dope.
little memory wall, and so, but yeah, man, I mean, going back to where we started, um, definitely, graffiti in my life growing up, kind of a way of passage,
Doug,
and I do appreciate the art.
that is crazy that we didn't know this until you didn't even know I was gonna bring this up, besides the fact that we had it like as our topic from last week and we never actually got to it. But the fact, dog, that like you were so wrapped up in that shit, I to this day fuck with that shit. Dog, I even watch from time to time. There was a time where I was more into it, but from time to time I'll still watch videos on YouTube where people are doing like a cross between graffiti, like you would think of the bubble letters and shit, and murals. So it'll be
Yep.
like it'll be like a fucking a bald eagle, overlooking some shit that says like little puppet, and it's like, but it's like fucking bubble letters and shit, dog.
Yep.
And there's like this dude I used to watch on YouTube that he had like a 30-foot by 15-foot wall like in his backyard, and he would paint it black, and then he would just fucking do a mural. By the end of the video, he had a fucking mural with like little fucking like the letters that had like arrows at the ends of them and shit,
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah.
He would do that, and then, dog, at the end of the video, he's painting over it because he's gonna do another video. Oh, I love that shit,
Have you
dog.
have you ever been to Venice Beach?
No, I don't think so.
Oh my God, bro. If you ever next time you're in Cali, you have to go. They're called the walls. Like that's just where you go. So look it up, Google it, and or if you've ever seen a movie that they show at Venice Beach, there's usually a scene they walk by it. I'm talking about years and years and inch of paint that people just go there. It's free walls. I don't know. I had to look into it. I don't know what these walls were back in the day,
Yeah.
but they're like there's like four sections of them, and they're like heck like X's. You know what I mean? And they're just free up for grabs. So like if you'd like to do art or graffiti, people just show up, roll up with their paint, bust out, and then sometimes just leave. And like, bro, you can be doing your shit, and some fool's like right behind you, already like buffing you up because he's doing his shit.
Oh,
And
dang.
like, and there's some really nice ones that like people, I'm not sure they're there forever, but they won't touch for a while because like it's literally like a masterpiece. Or maybe
Yeah.
some famous fool who everyone knows, like, yo, I'm not gonna disrespect Joe Blow, so
Hey,
I'm gonna leave
cartoon
it
did this
there.
one, or.
Yeah, whatever, or like, hey, Joker. So they won't fuck with it, and like, dude, it's super famous, and then like, I don't know if it's still allowed, but it always was when I grew up. So you'd go out there. We used to go out there on Sundays. Venice Beach is super famous in California. It's a bunch of bums and stuff there now, but they got one side is the beach, obviously, and the other side is just like a bunch of stores and bars and restaurants, a whole promenade and stuff like that, and a pier. But that's right there. That's what they're all famous Muscle Beach is too, with Arnold Schwarzenegger and all that. When
Yeah,
we used to
yeah,
work
right.
out,
And
so
that's
that's
where
all there.
I had, just from growing up, a fan of like Arnold and bodybuilders, right? I grew up a fan
Yeah.
of like Kai Green, Phil Heath, all them, Jay Cutler, and so they would always see them at Muscle Beach, right? And so I knew of it, dog. I just never been there because
I
I
want to say that came out in American History X too. Like that movie's all filmed there at Venice High School and all that. And I think there's a scene where they kind of walk by that and all that. But I mean, if you want, bro, give me another minute. I got a whole book. I think it's sitting right here and
yeah,
grabbing
go
this.
ahead and
But
grab it, dog. I'll go ahead and change it so I can have a second just to talk about some of the my favorite things is like, especially when it comes to that culture. If you haven't seen the movies like Breakin' or Breakin' 2, oh my goodness, they are some of, if you like popping and locking, and even in Breaking or Breaking 2, um Ice T is on there. He's like 15 or 16 or something, and he's rapping, skinny ass little dude, and he's in the video. And they had like Special K, Ozone, Turbo. Oh my, if you know, you know when it comes to breaking and graffiti and all that kind of shit. So the culture to me is something that I've always dug, and it's always something that where I was like missing the 80s growing up into where that shit was like huge, or even like the East Coast. I feel like where it went on probably longer. It's something that I feel like I missed out on. But Luis is back with his journal and his sketchbook. So let's go ahead and see what he's got going on right here.
So it's funny because like right off the top, like you can just see like some food just
This dog,
piecing that on. So they're
dog.
just like they're just pages upon pages in here of like the homie had it and then he passed it on to so and so and like I ended up it was mine or I ended up keeping it, but like look at this one. It's like a whole 2 page and shit.
Dog, that is. I could probably pull out shit from like meetings that I've been at where I'm doing shit like that.
Bro, there's some good ones here. And the homie, this is the homie, his name was Chasm. He used to tag all over it.
Not as good as
I
that.
mean,
Just heads up.
like it
Yeah,
just pages on pages of like, and there's some nice ones here, bro. Like I would say, like, man, people would. I mean, look at this one's like full blown, like,
yeah, dog. That is bad. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna send
bro.
you
Some
some.
of this shit still smells like ink. That shit's crazy.
I'm gonna send you some pictures after we're done of my great grandma's house, dog. After we renovated it. So I have an uncle that was a crackhead who he's died since, so R.I.P. But he tried to rob me one time, so you know whatever. But anyway, well, my great grandma, dog, she was like 94 when she died, and her house just became a freaking a tweaker pad, right? So, Doug, there was shit like what you're showing me all over the walls inside of the house. So I got to show you pictures from my great grandma's house where it says like little puppet, and then there's like a fucking mural like that on in the bedrooms, dog.
Bro, and then it was funny because you pass it around and be like, bro, why'd you let like you get one that were like asked like why'd you let who is this food? Like why is this even here? Like why did you let, who let this food tag on this book? Because you know there's some trash ones in here.
That dog,
Yeah, man, that's crazy. You hit like you unlocked the memory of that
it's
for me.
crazy, huh? When you really think about it, and you're like, it's funny, dog, because like that was such a part of your life that I'm sure you haven't even like talked about in years. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's just crazy because it's just something that we grew up in, especially with like Break In 2. I had said when you stepped away that like in one of the Break In movies, Ice-T comes out. And he's like 15 years old. Dog. See, didn't I mention a bald eagle and shit earlier?
So I knew I had one in here, so I
You
was
know,
looking for
I'm
it.
like, dog, that shit is just like, oh, dog. And I'm like, you know
Sorry, I
what?
feel like Rich Davis just looking through my phone here,
No, you
distracting
know
me.
what's funny though, dog, is that I
We'll
feel
put it there.
like I had made a comment the other day about at birthday parties, pool parties, you don't see the parents with a little more color in them swimming, right? Because it's for the kids, right? Doug, I don't remember a lot of Caucasian dudes unless you were like maybe Andrew Sims or El Cucuy or somebody who had a little more flavor to you. I didn't see those people into the graffiti culture. Into it was always like brothers and Latinos. That is always, at least from what I remember, unless you had like on Breaking, you had Special K. That girl, her name was Kelly or some shit. And so like it's just crazy. I feel like it was a big part of culture,
It was.
just growing up. So
Like there was famous people, like you said, that I don't remember off the top of my head, but like, hey, that's so when you would see like, damn, that's so and so, and there was a whole
well, I'll
it
tie this
was a
in.
culture.
I'll even tie this in to growing up TGIF. You remember the show Urkel, right?
Yeah,
Or Family Matters.
yeah,
So, do you remember there was a portion in the later seasons where Urkel had created Urkelbot? And
yeah.
yeah, all right. So he had the Urkelbot. Well, the dude that was actually in there being Urkelbot was Turbo from the Breakin' movies. So Turbo and Ozone were the main characters, and they had Special K, who I think she was a bigger part of like Breakin' 2. But Turbo and Ozone were two of the bigger dudes in the first movie. The one of the smaller dude who was the darker complected dude, because Ozone looked a little more fruity. He would wear like half shirts, had like a long earring, and then Ozone had like a little or Turbo had like a little Jerry curl. He was the one that was the actual Urkel bot. So a little knowledge for you guys that we're teaching you guys shit today, man. Oh,
That
but But yeah, but I guess we can check on what's next. It's like roulette, dog. Even though I made these topics right now, or earlier, I don't remember in what order they are, and I kind of forgot what some of them are. So if it's something we've talked about, we'll go ahead and move past it. But let's see what's up next on the agenda. And if there's anything you could think about, dog, let me know. Because if not, we'll just go through the motions.
No,
Right?
go ahead. Let's see what you got.
Washing hats, dog. Okay. So Cavino and Rich always bag on me because my hats are so fucking tight and this and this. I know what it is, Doug, is that like, because I'll tell you what it is 100%. And it's something that I think they kind of opened my eyes recently because I usually, Doug, I have like a hat that we're in Arizona, right? You're sweating your ass off. You're wearing your hat. You're right. I'll throw that bitch in the washer. I'll throw it in the dryer. It's so if I have like a hat that's 7 5/8, by the time I'm wearing it, dog, it's like 7 3/8, right? So because after I've washed it a few times. So what I did the other day, where I was thinking about, oh, Daniel Javier Fitz has a tight ass hat. He needs to get a bigger hat, big old dome. And I was like, man, fuck you guys. So what I did was, dog, I actually grabbed some detergent and I actually like soaked my hat, dog, and like hand washed it, right? So I fucking came, wring it out, like fucking, sprayed it off, soaked it some more. Dog, this hat looks brand new. And dog, brand new, didn't shrink, right? Wasn't through because sometimes even like the part like up here starts to get like, it loses the integrity, right? And it'll start to get like floppy. Right. And what we always say is hats to men are like dicks to women. You don't want them floppy. They want them nice and hard. Right. That's what we've always said here on the after show, but later is that you want it nice and hard. When it starts getting floppy, it's like, come on, Doug. Like, this isn't what I like out of it. Right. I like it to do its job, have a nice shape to it. And by actually washing my hats by hand, Doug, after I did that and I saw the first one come out like all beautiful, I go, Doug, I gotta start doing this shit for all. So I grabbed like 3 more hats that I had, Doug, washed them like that, and they look. So my question to you is, how do you wash your hats, Doug?
So let me ask you something real quick. Back that up real quick.
Yeah,
Did you ever have the little thing that sold at lids?
yeah. I had one
Did
recently and it
what did you
it broke.
did you think it worked or not?
Nah, at
Okay,
least for me,
so
it
I was
never
gonna
did.
say because I was that guy. I'm like I fucked up a hat one time, a long time. I wear hats all the time. I think I wear hats almost like as much as you do on the show and just in real life.
Yeah.
So I always had hats too. So I'm from the era of when they get nasty. Either I got two things. If it's a hat that I really like, then I want to wash it. Or if it's just too dirty, then it becomes the one I use to do yard
A
work or
hundred
the one I
percent, a
like
hundred
when
percent.
I'm smoke like if I'm smoking some meat or something or I'm at a bonfire or something like I don't want my brand new fresh hat smelling looking like shit, so I'm gonna use this B team one. And there were ones where like I can't get this one anymore, sentimental to me or something. I went ahead and washed one, and I've ruined a couple because they just don't wash well. Because some of them have like cardboard and whatever,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
they just never come back to that firmness that you and other girls are looking for, right? So
Yeah,
I then bought the little lid stanga that is made out of like hangers, right? It
yeah,
looks like
yeah.
it's like a hanger, like a taco, like a
And then it'll
sandwich. You
clip.
open it up. So what it does is so that's when it's tumbling in the washer or the dryer, it doesn't like get all smashed or whatever. So I tried that and it was just never the same. So
100%, Doug.
actually,
It would. I feel like it would still like lose its shape and kind of like, even though they tried, right? They tried, but it was never the same. Your hat was never the same even after that.
I'm a little extra, a little bougie, and I got a tailor that I go to who does all my like that fool buffs my shoes. He like when my pants have or whatever, he'll fix it up. That's what he does. He's a legit tailor. And one time I'm like, hey, you ever do hats? He's like, yeah, I do hats. And so that fool has like a steamer and all that for like clothes and all that. And he'll like steam your hat to like and spray with I think it's like hairspray, but he'll make it stiff. I took him one that was like all smashed or whatever that I sat on one time, and I'm like, yo, this one's dirty and like it'll crease kind of. And the fool made it look brand new. He washed
Brand
it
new.
and he steamed it with like I think it's like lacquer or something
No,
that they
no,
shoot it
Doug.
with
There's some shit
to
that I
give it
seen.
like that firm, like basically brings it back to life.
There's actually, and I had bought some shit that you're supposed to like put on like suede boots and shit, so like they don't get like messed up in the rain and shit. And
Mhm.
I had done that for a few hats where I sprayed like all the inside because it's supposed to like keep away like sweat and
It's like
shit
a
or whatever.
protector.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so basically it's what you do is you protect it when you as soon as you buy it. I did
Hmm.
it for like 3 hats, dog. Completely just fucking never did it again. But now that you say that, I think I'm gonna have to start doing that shit again because it really does keep the integrity of the hat much longer. So I'll have to do that or find a tailor.
No, and this guy is fucking legit. He's a bicep fool. That fool hooks me up, and so that was the option.
Does
And
he go?
sometimes,
Does he go? When I see the foam, is it that guy?
yeah, like Cavino's guy with the
Yeah,
with the
with the
shoes.
shoes.
Hey, bro, like I got a lot of Doc Martens in like leather and shit. So like, I mean, those things need love too. For some Harley Davidson. So that fool was my guy,
That's
dog.
hella dope.
But
Hella dope. How did
I don't
I
want to
know?
get too much in the weeds.
How did I know, Doug, that you're gonna have we're gonna have a hat conversation? That when I was putting the topic on there, Doug, I go, it's fucking weak, dog, talking hats. And then after Doug, we start talking about it, I'm like, I almost don't want to move on, but I know we're actually getting close to time, so we have like maybe 15, 20 more minutes, but we have a lot more topics to get through. So let's go ahead and find out what's next. Doug, I have a quick one for you. Being a Cali boy, Doug, you might. What the fuck do you need gutters for, dog? Does your house have gutters? Doug? Rich went and got like gutters installed or some shit. Is it just so the rain doesn't fall directly on your house, or what? Doug, help me out. I'm not an East Coast boy. I'm not a Seattle dude where it rains. Is it just to collect it from like falling like near your walkway or some shit? Is it to? It doesn't rain enough here in Arizona for me to know that.
So I don't know the official purpose, but what I remember or what I know, I guess, is for like for so you don't get wet, right? So like in your walkway as you're walking your house, you get most of them, there's probably grass, and if there is a walkway, then there's a walkway so that the water wouldn't come and hit the concrete and or hit you as you're walking by. It diverts the water. The other thing is too, like for landscaping and stuff, it'll start to create like a hole there, or like it'll start to like smash, especially if it rains a lot. Not that it does, but the water hits the same piece of grass the same time all the time, whatever. So it'll start to kill it, or just start to kind of fold it over.
Yeah.
So you'll see a line of where that comes out. But especially in Cali, bro, I think I've kind of seen Rich's house here and there, but like in Cali where I used to live, there was always a bunch of trees and shit, like big ass ones that like
Yeah.
you always had to go and clean gutters because even if you had them, like they would just get full of leaves and then the gutters were falling off because they were full of leaves, or even when it rained, like the water couldn't go because it was plugged up, so it would just do the same shit over again.
It would
Rich's
go
house,
over the gutter and defeat the purpose.
yeah, it was just like, and I think that's the my best guess on why. But I mean, to Rich's point, I think it's more of the landscaping, and it is like a safety thing. Like on some of the work I do, where it does rain and can freeze and
Yeah.
snow, it's to divert that from where people are actually walking, just as a protectant, really. But that's in the industry. Not sure about the houses, but I'm assuming there's some correlation there.
Yeah. But that was my only question is because I'm like we have, Doug, like a gutter that's like near like my driveway, but fucking I don't even think it's on right. It doesn't rain enough here, dog, for me to really pay any attention. So on let me see, it's April 6th today. So about 2 weeks ago or about a week ago, there was a comment on the in show chat where Rich didn't really see my sarcasm because Rich was talking about this show called Shrinking, which I do want to check out because I've heard a lot of good things about it. It's with Jason Segel and somebody else, more than one person, or else that'd be a boring show, right? If I had one person, but there's a lot of people on the show. I've heard really good things about it. So I had put on the in show chat, is Shrinking the best show in 20 years? And Rich was so into talking about it. He's like, I don't know if he said the after show, but later, or he said Daniel Have Your Fits or whatever, but he was like, is asking if it's the best show in 20 years. I'll think about it. It's definitely up there. Doug, the reason why I said that is because anytime Rich digs a show that isn't a reality show, so any show he digs, whether it's I don't know, True Blood or, Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad. Whenever Rich is into a show, and it could be, dog, something that's like a show that's on CBS that Rich and the creator are watching. They're like the only two people. If Rich is into a show, he will tell you it's the best show in 20 years. Every time. And if you don't believe me, listen to the next time he talks about a show. Rich says, the best show in 20 years, the best show in 20 years. And I remember like months ago, I had put in the comments, I'm like, every show can't be the best show in 20 years. That's like saying, oh, Richard Pryor, go. Eddie Murphy, go. Chris Rock, go. You're like, dog, goat means of all time. You can't have 30 goats, right? Now you just have a farm. So when it comes to the best show, you can't have the best show in 20 years. Every show can't be the best show in 20 years. So, Rich he's not going to watch this anyway. He doesn't fucking watch us. But anyway, maybe Covino can relate the message to him.
Rich didn't see titties and Rich doesn't see the tablespoon.
He doesn't, 100%. I have something. So last week, Covino was having to film something for the History Channel. So the name of this right now is Matching Your Look. Doug, this feels like something that would be so hard for me because Covino had to film something for the History Channel, and he had to match his look from months ago where he had to they gave him like a picture. They're like, here, this is the last time you filmed with us. This is how your hair looked. This is your facial hair. This is the clothes you were wearing. For one, I'm like, Doug, what if you got rid of that clothes? Right. And maybe I just get rid of things because, I mean, you can only have so many black t-shirts, right? So I'm like, I throw black t-shirts out all the way. I cut the sleeves off of them. Now it's a yard work shirt, whatever. But when it comes to matching your look, like Covino did a very good job of actually getting the haircut same and, shaving his beard or whatever. Dog, I fluctuate so much in weight, dog. There's like probably 15 to 20 pounds. I'm up and down between episodes that you and I do, dog. And it's like the last 3 days, dog, I'm like, I've eaten barely any carbs, right? But next time we record, I'll probably be a carbaholic, right, dog? So I just blow up as soon as I eat a piece of bread. So, dog, and right now, I know you're probably like, no, you look roughly the same, whatever. But Doug, if I had to match my look to 3 months ago, you would be like, what the fuck? Is that the same dude? And Doug, I remember recording with El Cucuy. He had lost weight. He had lost 30 pounds or something. And he was telling me one time, he's like, dude, why the fuck didn't you tell me? He's like, I was watching some episodes. He's like, I was fat as hell. So he actually had watched himself and was like, dude, I'm getting too fat. He went on a mission to go to the gym every morning and shit. And it's just I feel like most people, especially if you're not seeing yourself every day or every week on camera, you might not realize how bread affects you or how this or that, especially if you're somebody that your weight does fluctuate. You look like you've been thin your whole life, so you wouldn't know the struggle. But I just feel like for most people that do know the struggle, if they said, hey, match this, I'm like, dog, I probably have more crow's feet now than I had 3 months ago. I probably have my face is got more rosacea and shit. I'm redder today than but I just feel like if I had, that would, the way Covino stresses about shit, that would stress me out. And he didn't seem like he was very stressed out about it. He was just like, oh yeah, I had Addie touch up my hair and I'm going to trim my beard down to a no clip. I would be like, oh fuck, dog. Was I fatter there? Should I eat more? Was I skinnier there? Should I eat less? I'm like, what do I do? It reminded me of I don't know if you were a South Park or not South Park, Family Guy fan back in the day, but there's an episode where Stewie gets a piece of glass in his forehead. And he goes, do I leave it in or take it out? Do I leave it in or take it out? And I just feel like, dog, that's how I would be. Do I eat more? Do I eat less? Is my hair too short? Is it too long? Dog, I think that would drive me nuts. So.
I thought the same thing, the way Covino's so particular about how he looks and stuff, that he was going to, maybe he was, and he didn't seem like that way, at least when he was telling us today about it. Or, I mean, last week. But
if you know, you know.
It was kind of crazy, and I think for me, I have the same look. You know what I mean? I have lost some weight recently, but I'm pretty creature of habit. Like I wear the same fucking hat. Like even at work, like on Mondays I usually wear this pants and this shirt unless I gotta go do something different. So like I bet if you start going back right now even to some of the videos that we've done and be like, fuck, this foot looks the same. Like he's wearing the same
Dog,
shit.
I have like
Uh
7 fucking months of episodes where I'm wearing like the same exact shit.
That's what I was saying. So it wouldn't be hard that way, at least to look, but maybe, like I go to the same barber for 10 years, so I do the same thing. Every once in a while I get bored and like let my hair grow out or like, hey, just take it all off and let's do something different just to change it up. But for the more than likely, like everything's usually pretty redundant for me. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't
Unless you're
think it'd be
Spock,
hard for me.
and then you get a haircut once every 6 months.
Yeah, todo mechudo, check out pipi.
Oh man, let me see what we have. Matching look. What's next? What do you talk about? We kind of already talked about this in our last episode where Addie was like, "Hey, how do you think of things to say?" So if you missed that episode number 333, we talked about what do you talk about? Energy drinks, dog. Speaking of energy drinks, dog, I got one right here. It's the Monster Ultra Strawberry Dreams, dog. When it comes to energy drinks, dog, I usually I'm not like a big energy drink person. Today I was like, we got to record 2 episodes. I've had a long ass day at work. Let me go and pick up a couple real quick before we record. And but usually Monster is my go-to. There's all these different shit out there, whatever. Rich was saying, I don't know if it was a Monster that he had that made him like itchy or some shit. If you remember the story, feel free to recap it. But for me, there's one brand or type or whatever that's ever done that to me, and it's C4. C4, dog. I have that shit. I could have 2 sips of it. My head starts tingling. I fucking hate it. So if Rich had that experience with Monster, dog, I completely understand. Do you fuck with energy drinks? Do you not?
So when I'm more like an office guy and like supervisor guy, but back when I was working 12, 14, 16 hours a day, days and weeks at a time, like I became a Red Bull guy. And it was really, I like the flavor. Like I don't know if I get that much energy. I mean, I can feel it and I know it's there, but like I never like coffee because I don't do milk. And so if I ever needed like a little pick me up, it was that. Um, back in the day when I was working out, stuff like that. I mean, that's kind of why I used to like creatine and fat burners because it was like doing
Do you remember the C4
it was like
pre-workout?
doing like that kind of shit without
Yeah.
doing that kind of shit, bro. You'd be like, oh, shit.
Some of
You'd be
that
like,
booger sugar.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, bro. And like, yes, I do remember C4. And then, have you ever had or heard of Redline?
I think I've heard of it. I've never used it though.
I don't even think they sell anymore, but it was like a little vial, dude. And that shit, I thought I was gonna have a heart attack in. And you were supposed to have. It was like a old school version of a 5 hour energy. I don't know if you had one of those too. Like it was like it felt like crack, bro. And I thought that time like I had to like chill out. Like my heart was going 100 miles per hour, and like it
Doug,
would got that feeling where like I could feel my skin crawling. Like I was like
I
I didn't
remember
like that feeling.
my buddy Chris, dog, which is funny because if you know what he does for a living now, it's completely hilarious, right? And whatever he gave me, I think it was legal, but he gave me some pills that were some kind of like pre-workout or some shit. At least that's what he told me. Dog, I was all twacked out and talking a million miles a second. And my family is so straight edge when it comes to like drugs and shit and whatever, and even probably like pre-workouts and shit. But I remember he was like, dude, fucking kick back. Your mom's gonna kill me. And I remember just whatever I had, dog, whatever he had given me, because we were so into working out at the time. So he was like, oh yeah, I take this shit all the time. But since I had never taken it, it fucking had me through the walls, itching, speaking a million miles an hour. And
Yeah,
if you think I speak quickly as it is, I mean, that was crazy.
bro. I just looked it up. One little thing was either 4 ounce or an 8 ounce, 250 to 300 milligrams of caffeine in a red
That's
line.
crazy. That's crazy, Doug. If I have a energy drink right now, like this one, I had one the other day that was some like Rogan shit, but it had like 250 milligrams of caffeine and it kind of got me sick.
Yeah, that's too much, especially like an empty stomach. Like I don't like that feeling, but I stopped, bro, because it's not good for you,
Oh, this
and
has
like
150 milligrams.
it's not good for you and all that. And I feel like there's that crash still. I'll have one once in a while, and like not even for energy, just because I like what it tastes like. If anything, I'll have like a non-sugar one just to help. And I'm not gonna lie, like if I'm going to a show or a concert or something, I'll have like a double Tito's Red Bull, just like the first one to make sure I got some energy. Then I'll switch to like cranberry or something. But I don't like to anymore because I know how bad it is for you. But it is like kind of one of my secret things that I like to do.
But you know what, though, dog? It's just it's funny because like I think, especially I feel like our generation was more of we went through energy drinks, like especially like Monster and all that was like, dog. I remember there was one called Nas that I used to like back in the day.
Yeah.
Then so they had like all of these. I feel like our generation, especially high school slash early college, like we kind of all kind of that was like big for our shit. I feel like Cavino and Rich were a little aged out of that, so they probably fucked with them, but not like we did. So somebody like Rich, who's only done like coffee his whole life, even if he has 2 or 3 cups, that's like a half of an energy drink. You know what I'm saying? So when he had his energy drink and it made him all twacked out, he was like, "I don't like this feeling." Doug, it reminds me of like if you've ever like had some of the devil's lettuce and you're like, "Oh, damn it. I've gone too far and now I have to just wait," right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how Rich is like, like it reminds me of Howard Stern. He said, dog, like the first time he ever did acid, he did like there I don't even know how you do acid, right? I'm not into acid. But it was like say it's like a I don't have them on me right now. But you know those little breath strips that you put the little like
Yeah.
rectangles or
The mints.
squares, yeah, right? So it was supposed to be, I guess, like one of those that you're supposed to cut like 4 ways, and he had the whole thing. And he said he was in like the fetal position for like, I don't know, like a whole weekend, just rocking back and forth. And so I feel like that was Rich on an energy drink just because he's never had it. So yeah, man. But
Hey, let me throw you back real quick talking
yeah,
about energy drinks. Do you remember or heard of Fruitopia?
Fruitopia. I don't
Yeah.
know what the hell that is.
So it used to be like a soda energy drink that Coca-Cola used to make. Started
Fruitopia.
in, yeah. So they used to be there at school, like at middle school. Like you had like Gatorade machines, the Coke machines, whatever. In there they had Fruitopias. It was like an old school Fanta,
Yeah.
but bro, it was like straight sugar, dude. And so like anytime kids would have it, like in middle school, it's bad enough. You're paid this much attention. But so they kind of outlawed it when for a while like at schools they didn't give a shit about what you ate. They'd sell you chips and all this bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
There came like a big turn where all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, you can't sell that stuff in school anymore. Like you gotta, if you're gonna do that, you have to like have nutritious shit and all that." So they pulled them out of at least our school district because it was so bad for the kids and like they were really pushing hard on obesity stuff. But that was one. It didn't get outlawed, but it definitely got excommunicated from our school district because of all the like it was bad for you and it was just having the kids bounce off the walls.
We never had that. We never had that like in our school. We had like the normal, you know, Pepsi machines or whatever that had like Red Bull or whatever the fuck in them. So we had that, but it was never like and then half of the kids, Doug, were too fucking poor, got the free lunch anyway, so they didn't really buy those,
Right.
But yeah,
What
no,
about the energy for locals? You ever had that?
the energy for locals? No.
Oh, that was nasty.
Really?
So it was like four locals, but had energy in it. So it was like you were getting faded and like sugar at the same time,
Doug,
which
did you
is
ever
like a
play Edward Forty
recipe
Hands as
for
a kid?
disaster. Oh my God, that was terrible.
Sorry, you said Four Locos, dog. I just had a throwback
Uh,
to when I was a kid. But yeah,
for those of
dog.
you guys who don't know, that's when you would tape 240s to your hands and you couldn't do anything, or
Until
no
you
one
were
would
done drinking
typically,
them.
no one should help you until you drank them full.
Yeah, right. And I mean, if you were smart, you brought your girl with you or whatever. You're like, hey, pull out my wiener. I gotta pee or whatever. Put it back
Yeah.
away. Hey, my friend's gonna look at it. Eh? Like, but Doug, that oh my goodness, just thinking about times like when we were going to the desert and shit. We're in Arizona. There's a lot of desert, and a lot of that's where like a lot of the parties were when we were kids. But Edward Forty Hands, like there was just man, it was just crazy memories, Doug. That we have is things we did as a kid, but Doug, I think that pretty much wraps up whatever I have for this week. You have any parting words or anything before we wrap it up?
Yeah, one quick thing that happened last week that I just wanted to hit on again. I'm sorry, I'm pulling my notes up. Um, the Cavino and Rich curse lives on, I think, right? So we just talked graffiti for a while. We had a little bit show and tell. I don't know if I tagged you in it. Uh, Wes from Idaho, which is obviously one of the famous Carls. He posted something on the Carl's page, and it was an article of Fox News in Seattle where a graffiti tagger fell off the ramp on the freeway.
Oh shit! No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, and I don't know if he died or whatever, but it was just funny because these guys were literally just talking about graffiti, and then boom, this it's on the news now, and this guy either hurts himself or dies. And then you go back to the old curse of we just lost Chuck Norris because these freaking fools were talking about it, and people were commenting like, "Hey, bro, I don't want any more shout outs to the dog. Like, that's
You
it,
know
fool.
what, though,
Like,
dog?
you guys are jinxing fools."
I'm not saying I fell off of a building or nothing, but I will say this. Last week, episode number 333, we thanked Cavino and Rich. They hit their 1,000 episodes, and we were like, oh, so grateful because Cavino, gave us a nice little shout out. Appreciated all the feedback and support that we give him. Guess what happens this morning before work? Flat tire. Not even, Doug, not even low air. Shit was, I go, Doug, you know what? I'm going to go, I can make it to like a Chevron that's nearby because Chevron always has free air, right? They have free air, free water. If you go to Circle K and shit, you got to like pay the machine and then whatever. Chevron, 100%. So that's a little fun fact for you guys. Doug, I go to get in my car and I was like, literally, Doug, like on the rim. And actually, that's something that I have to do tomorrow is first thing in the morning. Got to go and get my tire changed and shit. And like the Cavino and Rich curse, Doug, if you think it's fake, think about me and my flat tire.
Hey, you know what you need to do?
What's up?
Put tape on that shit.
I heard. Hey, yeah. If I had a freaking what is it? A generator or what is it? Not a generator. Compressor.
Compressor.
What the fuck, Doug? How did I have brain fart? If I had a compressor, I'd fill my shit up real quick, put some tape on it, and I would drive to the fucking llanta shop.
Cálmate, Covino.
But anyway, after show, but later, Doug. I can't wait till episode 335 when you come back and you have a safe trip. When you come back, you're gonna have lots of stories, Doug. So I can't wait. Hit me up in the meantime. Let me know, if you have anything or anything you want me to say for 335. Luis will be a world traveler the next time you see him. Think of the stories. And again, if you miss this show live, then you have to go ahead and go to patreon.com/TASBL and join. You could join the Above Ground Pool Boys tier for $1. So do that. You can see episodes like this live when maybe we have things come up. If not, and you're future, dude, we still appreciate you checking us out. So the after show, but later, it's your boys D. It's Luis Cortez Jr. We will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
On the road to the riches, cause it's all about the paper. Now buckle up your seats and prepare for the journey. Let the music ease your soul, grab a spliff and start burning. Relax with us and take a trip to the heavens. And come and spend a day in the 757.
Hydro, the vapes and blunts I smoke.